All right, let's talk about Finnegans Wake. Have you ever picked up this book, stared at a page, and just felt completely lost? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to crack open the very first story to show you how you can actually start reading what many call the world's most difficult book. So let's dive right in. Welcome to the Episode 2 summary of the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions podcast, where we analyze Finnegans Wake by James Joyce 3 pages at a time. And hey, before we go any further, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to support us. It really helps. Now, for a much more detailed analysis, you've got to listen to the Reading Finnegans Wake in 200 Sessions podcast, where we really get into it. And don't forget to visit the finneganswakenotes.com website for more detailed line-by-line explanations and notes. So, that's the big question, right? How do you even begin to read the world's most difficult book? Well, James Joyce gives us a pretty surprising answer, with a song, a fall, and a funeral. It all kicks off with one particular guy. Our story starts with the fall of a man named Tim Finnegan. He's a builder, a mason, and he's really the central figure of this whole opening scene. But here's the thing, Joyce didn't just make him up out of thin air. That's right. Our man Finnegan comes straight from a popular 19th century Irish-American ballad, a song actually called Finnegans Wake. It's this funny song about a drinker who falls off a ladder, dies, and then, get this, gets brought back to life by whiskey at his own wake. Joyce takes this pretty simple story and, well, he does his thing. This right here is a perfect snapshot of Joyce's method. On the left, you've got the simple song lyric. On the right, you have Joyce's version. Head becomes Howth, which sounds like a bricklayer's hod and also Dublin's Howth Head. He fell becomes he stuttered. Every single word is just this super dense package of puns and all these different layers of meaning.
So the book asks what caused this fall, but it uses language that, at first glance, just looks like total gibberish. Tragic Ida Thunderstay? What's that? But this is the absolute genius of Finnegans Wake. Hiding inside this crazy language is a whole world of meaning. Let's just break down that first phrase.
You see, Tragoty Thundersday isn't just some funny spelling. It's a portmanteau, a word that literally mashes other words together. It's got tragedy, but it also has the Greek root for goat song, and the goat is an animal tied to Thor, the god of thunder. And of course, Thursday is literally Thor's day. So in just one phrase, you get tragedy, thunder, a god, and a day of the week. This is how the entire book works. It's incredible.
So what really made Finnegan fall? The book throws a bunch of different ideas at us. Was it a misfired brick? Or maybe a collapsus of his back promises, which is a pun on the collapse of his scaffolding? Could it have been the crazy noise of Dublin, what the book calls the Walhall's horrors, a mix of Valhalla and the racket of cars and trams? Or was the cause something way bigger, something cosmic? The text just leaves it as a mystery for us to figure out.
So Finnegan falls, and he's dead. He's dead. What comes next is this classic Irish tradition, the wake. But let me tell you, this is no sad, quiet affair. Joyce tells us he's taken home for his wake, and it's attended by all the hooligans of the nation. It's basically a massive party. The book describes this huge racket with ululation and joviality. It's a true celebration of life, just disguised as a funeral, and it's full of drinking and singing and even a little bit of fighting. And here's how they lay his body out. Again, the language is just so dense and playful. Brought adon a long last bed means he's laid broad on his long last bed. Simple enough. But what about the rest of that? This is just a brilliant example of Joyce's wordplay. Apocalypsa finisci is a bucket of whiskey. Joyce cleverly combines the Latin word finis, meaning end, with uisci, which is the Irish root for whiskey. And a barrel load of guineasis, well, that's a barrel of Guinness that also has the word Genesis, the beginning, tucked right inside it. So right there at his very end, we find a brand new beginning. Okay, so this is where the story takes a really, truly mind-bending turn. We've got Finnegan dead on the table, surrounded by all these rowdy mourners. But he doesn't stay that way for very long. Just as the mourners are about to have a sort of ceremonial meal to quaff off his fraud stuff or eat his food stuff, he's suddenly gone. He is nowhere mo, nowhere no more. Finish. He literally vanishes from the table. But where did he go?
He doesn't just disappear. Oh no, he transforms. Tim Finnegan, the builder, becomes the very thing he used to build on, the landscape itself. He becomes a sleeping giant.
His head, which was laid out at the wake, literally becomes Howth Head, that famous peninsula that makes up the northern boundary of Dublin Bay. The man's head is now a mountain.
And what about his feet? Well, they're described as sticking up by the mund of the magazine wall, way over in Phoenix Park, on the complete opposite side of Dublin. So you see, Finnegan's body is the city of Dublin now. He has become the geography, this sleeping giant whose story is now the story of the place itself.
And believe it or not, that is just the beginning. This whole story just cracks open the first few pages, but what it really does is leave us with way more questions than answers.
Think about it. If Finnegan the Builder is now this sleeping giant, then what was that Tragicody Thunder's Day? Was it really just the sound of traffic? Or could it have been the voice of God, the thunder that, according to the philosopher Vico, was what first woke up consciousness in early humans?
And the text also mentions these mysterious figures lurking in the ambushes, lying in wait over by the fort in Phoenix Park. Who are these people? Are they soldiers? Gossips? Maybe his own sons plotting to take over?
And here's the biggest question of all. How does this one story about one fallen Irish bricklayer connect to the fall of Adam, to Humpty Dumpty, and to the rise and fall of civilizations throughout all of human history?
Well, answering those questions is pretty much what the rest of the book is all about. For the full, really deep breakdown of these pages, you have to check out the Reading Finnegan's Wake podcast and explore the amazing detailed notes over at finneganswakenotes.com. Thanks so much for watching.